Hello everyone, Mel here from DCC. Today I'm talking about one of my favorite topics, which is financial aid. Unironically, I love to talk about this. So what I want to discuss today is the difference between need and merit aid, because these are different types of aid that colleges can give out. Some families may only get need-based aid from some schools. They may only get merit aid from some schools, or they may get a mix of both. And that can change by school and by family, right? So I think that all families should understand some very basic things about how financial aid is determined by the schools that they're applying to. So one of the most important terms that I think families should understand is the term need. And I'm putting need in scare quotes, not because you don't have need. That's not what I mean. Why I'm putting it in quotes is because this is literally a term you should know. So need is your family's calculated financial need based on a very, very simple math equation. Even I can do it. The college's estimated cost of attendance minus your student's SAI, which is the student aid index, equals need. So I'm going to explain these terms really quickly. So the cost of attendance is the cost that you should be budgeting with. Do not just use tuition. You maybe could have done that 40 years ago, but in today's day and age, sometimes the tuition is half the full cost. So it depends on the school, but you want to look up their actual cost of attendance. Now, this is an estimation, right? When you go on their website, every college has to publish an estimated cost of attendance. The actual functional cost for your student might be different, but colleges have to estimate what it costs to go there for a year, right? So that will include tuition, but there's also going to be room and board estimated in there. Whether or not your student lives on campus, they still have to eat and live somewhere for a year, right? There are costs associated with that. Textbooks, transportation, miscellaneous fees, all of that stuff goes into that full cost of attendance calculation. Then you have your student's SAI. This is the term that has replaced EFC in the FAFSA. So the FAFSA is just a math equation that's going to spit out a number, which is based on that methodology from the FAFSA, the guess of how much they think your family can afford for 1 year of going to a university. Whether or not you agree with that number is not besides the point, but it is for a lot of schools. But that SAI, that student aid index, is going to be just a number, right? That is determined by the FAFSA. So you take that cost of attendance and then you subtract your SAI. If that number that comes out from that simple equation is positive, that is your need. Now, not every college meets need, but know that if you have need, you might get need-based aid. And it's that simple, but it's never that simple. There's always other things going on, if you have to do the CSS profile or if you need to appeal or things like that. But I feel every family should at least know that math equation that they could do for every school on their list, okay? Briefly going to talk about merit scholarship as well. So merit scholarship is given by colleges for something your kid did or something about them that they want at their institution. The optimistic way of thinking about merit scholarships is that the colleges are celebrating your students' accomplishments and want them to be rewarded for it at their school. The cynical way of looking at it, which is unfortunately sometimes how I look at these things, is that they want to bribe kids to come to their school that they really want, right? So the most selective colleges in this country, those sort of Ivy-like schools, the Ivy League, your Stanfords, MITs, those kinds of schools, they don't give out merit scholarships. They don't need to, right? They'll fill a class regardless, but there are campuses that want to steal students away from those kinds of schools, or they just want to get the best and brightest and most talented students from, because colleges know your kids are applying to a ton of schools, right? So this is their way of sweetening the pot and snagging your kid away from other schools and bringing them to their school. Again, maybe a cynical way of looking at it, but it can feel nice to be bribed to go somewhere. So be aware that, again, scholarship, you can sometimes get need-based aid, you could sometimes get merit aid, sometimes you get both, sometimes you get neither. It can be complicated and confusing, but I do encourage people to understand like the functionality of what merit scholarships are, as well as how like basic need is calculated. If you have any questions, because this is admittedly sometimes confusing, you can always reach out to us. We're happy to help.